So guys, I'm going to talk you through exactly how I lost £11,750. So when I realised that I could remortgage my first property, I managed to get that valued at 120k, meaning I had £90,000 back in my pocket. At the time, I was obviously driving taxis as well, so I had some savings, okay? So I thought now, because I'm buying properties cash, I could go around with my £100-something thousand, buy a property, and in 6 months, remortgage it, and I have all my initial investment back. Because I didn't know how the buy, refurbish, refinance model actually worked. I thought you could buy properties for cash, wait 6 months, and then remortgage them and have all your initial investment back. So my second property deal, I bought it from a mortgage broker. So a mortgage broker at the time, it was a friend. He'd owned the house for 25 years or 20 years. There was a tenant in situ. Again, uneducated. Me, yeah, I'll buy it. It's a property. Not really knowing that the implications that came with it with a tenant. It's a little bit more difficult now to get people out of properties. You've got to give them 6 months notice, blah, blah, blah. But I thought, because I'm going to buy this property for £95,000, that in 6 months' time, I can just remortgage it. Because I'd waited 3 years for my other one, my first one, and capital appreciation had done its thing, I was managed to pull most of my initial investment off that property. Whereas now, uneducated me, not realising you need to do an actual renovation on the property to push the value up, I was paying, yeah, I did pay a little bit below market value, 95k. And really, to push the value of what I got at the end, 120k, was I was really lucky to do it. Obviously, the valuer came out, and I was I said to her, oh, I've had it for 6 months. Obviously, I would do a little bit of work there, but the tenant isn't, very clean. So I know it's worth 120,000. Ignorant. I didn't know, how this stuff really worked. So I was very lucky to get that. So I'm going to talk you through how I lost money, right? So I bought the property for 95k cash because I had the remortgage money and some savings. So then my stamp duty was £4,750. And then I also paid my solicitor, which was £2,000. So all in, £101,000, £750. So I was receiving rent of £600 a month for this one property. So I left it for 6 months and then went back to the bank and said, this property is worth I think I said 140 or 130,000 pound. They came out, they realized that I hadn't added any value to the property at all. They checked and seen that I bought the property 6 months ago. And they said, Jordan, this property is not worth 130, 140,000 pound. It's worth 120k at a push. The tenant isn't really looking after the property. So this meant that I had now lost this money. £11,750 because they give me a new mortgage of £90,000, 75% of 120k, a buy-to-let mortgage, meaning that I now had a mortgage on the property of 90k, but I invested £101,000. So I lost £11,000. And that was the turning point when I realised that I can't just make a business out of this if I'm going to carry on doing this without really knowing what I've got to do. So that's when I obviously went and got educated and understood how everything worked properly. But that is how I lost £11,000 on my first deal. So guys, if this is some stuff that you're interested in, if you're interested in buying properties, adding value, refinancing them, renting them out, getting the cash flow and also the capital appreciation, make sure to click the link in my bio, and I'd love to have a conversation with you about getting you started.